Hey on everyone, welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. We had a few days off, very much still reeling from the Cowboys loss. So I had to take a little bit of time in between. There's been a lot happening in the old NRL Fantasy NRL landscape. Obviously had all the Saturday games moved to Sunday yesterday, which thankfully ended up okay. Obviously, cancelled all sport for the day. Everyone had to get tested and they got back out and played. So it's good to see those games yesterday, and there's obviously some decent fantasy scores in amongst some average ones as well. Just going to give an update on the people squad heading into these last two games. We actually have 6 players remaining, which is solid, and our captain. So for Fafita there is Skip, also Schuster brought in DCE this week. Obviously will be a good one. Ramian, Averillo, and Trbojevic as well. So our trade in of Adam Dewey worked really well. Played Tyson Gamble with 71, was awesome. Hughes went off with a bit of a calf strain, which he's been dealing with for a bunch of weeks now and continues to play. So there's a big chance that he gets rested next week, even if it's minor. They rested Munster last week, so that's something to keep in mind for us. But we do have a lot of halves to cover anyway, which will be fine. And hopefully Moses comes back and we can use him anyway. But Papali'i, Haas, Mane did okay, Lolo okay as well with with Crichton's 41, wasn't anything special. Teddy was solid. Obviously playing Watson for 22 wasn't ideal, even though he did get moved back to the bench. That hurt us a little bit, and Ben Hunt was having a really strong game, 30 points in 36 minutes before finishing on 41 with the Rabbitohs sort of going on to smash them. So life's going to get a little bit easier for the Dragons, not having to play got teams like the Bunnies every week, but we're still ranked high with 6 players and a captain. I think we're going to rocket into the sort of the top 5, top 400 there. But we'll see how we go. So that's that. We'll roll into the first 3 games in this video, and then go from there. So Roosters and the Eels was our big starter, and this was something that came out of the blue. That's for sure. In terms of Roosters absolutely smashing them, I thought there was a chance they could win, but I thought Eels would get over the top of them. Coming off a loss, I thought they'd be a lot better, but without Moses there, having a few issues there. Really good for my team having Papali'i and Joey Manu, so I was really happy with the start of my round, especially trading in Tedesco as well with the 57 was also solid. But yeah, Papali'i just dominating, playing 80 minutes again, and anytime he does that, he's going to get a big score. He just makes too many runs and has too many tackle busts to go along with 39 tackles for 0 misses was absolutely awesome. So that was that there. And Manu, playing on the wing, just running for 330 meters. Yes, he had a tap and go, which he ran and scored and ran about 80 meters there to get that. But to run 250 outside of that is really special, and a couple of line breaks there. No real issues in terms of how he was able to still make an impact on the game. So 70 for him. He becomes a really strong option. He's going to be 650, 660 after this, which puts him pretty much as the highest paid or highest priced center in the game, who has that dual position wing fullback as well. So turned out to be a really awesome option for me to hold, pretty much from since I bought him in around 3 or 4 to have him for the entire year. So that's that there. If you're interested in him, then he's a possible option at a much more expensive price than what he was a bunch of weeks ago anyway. Dylan Brown, really strong game for him. Obviously, without Moses, has been scoring really well. This is kind of the what he averages across the year, that 53. So I wouldn't be expecting anything further amazing from him, especially with Moses coming back. Gutho was 61, just been a really solid option all year. Paulo 60, Walker still that up and down. Can have a really solid couple of games there with the try assist, and then has a really low game. So hence the 44 average, but a great first season average for sure. Teddy with 57, try saver, try assist, line break, 6 tackle breaks. Just a very normal game for him and a dominant display for the Roosters. Madison, nice solid game. Didn't get to play the 80 this week, which is interesting because they had a bunch of injuries, but yeah, did his job. 54, would take that every day of the week. He's getting closer to that, what he's averaged, the price that he's averaged at now, which is great. Thankfully, decided to move on Leilua over Madison, and that worked out better. Anyone who picked up Marnie has been great. A People's Squad picked him up, 51 this week. That's not really too much to write home about. A couple of kicks out of dummy half, 1 turnover tackle. That's about it there. Crichton got back to his plenty of tackles, just no attacking stats this week, and neg 6 in terms of the missed tackles and the error. But yeah, again, he's been one of those players that's been up and down in terms of his scoring that way, but still averaging 60.7. So you take the good with the bad with these types of players for sure. What I will ask is anyone a hairdresser in or a barber in Sydney. I need some help with the hair in this latest lockdown. But yeah, anyway, moving on. Verrills, if you had to play him, 37 in his 64 minutes was okay. Split his time with who was it again? Yeah, Lockie Lamb, who came back off the bench in this one. Tupanua with the lower game was a little bit annoying if you own him, but I don't think many would. Radley was the one. 53 minutes is still decent. He's been playing bigger minutes than that. But again, no attacking stats, -8, only the 50 run meters. So just nothing really special for him this week. And you'd imagine a bounce back game, but if you picked him up this week, unfortunate that he picks up the 30. But yeah, just be aware that he should be back to normal very quickly. In terms of everyone else, Campbell Gillard was someone that got injured as well, but I don't think many people have him at this stage. So that's the first game. It was really surprising, but really, really good for any of the Roosters fans out there. Next one was just a diabolical game, wasn't it? Tigers, literally season on the line, have to win this one. Warriors nothing to play for. The Tigers go up early, and the Warriors rally, and oh god, it's shocking for the Tigers anyway. Dewey out there doing his what's Adam doing? Dewey out there doing his thing. He's special again, 79 for his efforts. Just 190 run meters. Didn't have to kick too much, but 24 tackles, 6 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, a try, a couple of goals. He was special. Obviously, Leilua, I spoke about him, being the better one to take out of the team, and he had a special game as well with 74. Obviously, the few weeks before weren't as great, and that's why he's sitting at 567 in his price, with Madison being 650. But yeah, he was awesome as well. But I suppose the standout was Ewan Aiken, wasn't he? In playing in the back row, got a couple of tries, 41 tackles in the back row. Maybe he's sneakily a back rower, but he was up against the Tigers, who are obviously pretty terrible. But yeah, 2 tries, 41 tackles, 6 tackle breaks, 160 meters with a turnover tackle. He was special. Be interesting to see where he plays going forward. I imagine he's going to stick in the centres or go back to where he was rather than staying in the second row. But if he ends up playing in the second row, he's very, very cheap as a starting centre. Be 470, 480. Following this score, so he's really interesting. And then the Alex Twal roller coaster continues with 75 in his 80 minutes. He was special with 53 tackles for no misses and 140 meters for 2 tackle breaks. So, yeah, can't really hope for much more from someone like Twali, but still averaging just under that 50 mark, which, if you're looking at his price point, is actually pretty good. He's undervalued compared to that average, and he'll pop up a little bit in the price after this week. That's that. Bailey Sirinen, Sean O'Sullivan, both guys I wouldn't be looking at selecting. Oitikamanu with 56 in his 58 minutes. So he's getting extended minutes now and actually really improving as a player. So he's someone that I think is a very interesting option for next year. If he ends up becoming one of those top forwards, obviously in his team, but then, if he's starting to make rep sides or getting in the squad for the Queensland team, I think it's going to be really, really important for his for his fantasy prospects next year, but also his development for this last 5 games. To become one of those top guys and then have a big preseason and go from there. And I imagine Sean Bloor is going to be very similar. We spoke about him at the start of the year as being someone who, if he was potential to get that starting second row spot and play 80 minutes, then he'd do really well at that 228 price. I suppose for us, looking forward to next year, we don't want him to play too many starting games and lose his price, that he's going to be close to that bottom dollar. But him 53, if you had to play him this week, you got really lucky. Luke Brooks still sitting around that 50 average, so he was okay. Mbaya with 50, playing at fullback this week. He did really well. So if you're holding him, he's going to gain a little bit in price. Or if you had to play him, even better. Reece Walsh with 45. Just again, the team. Yes, they came back and did pretty well, but it's just nothing too much is happening for him at the moment. Obviously, attacking stats were fairly limited. Did get 190 kick meters, which was great. But the -8 sort of hurt him a little bit. You take the 45 when he's priced at 617. If he's 700k plus, you're looking for somewhere definitely in the 50s. But Walsh, we didn't actually play him in the People's Squad this week, but I still think he's a very viable option going forward until they play the real top teams. Moving along, not too much else to say out here. Obviously, guys like Tavanga with 26, the young hooker, played 32 minutes only, but scored really well. 27 tackles in that time for 27. So, yeah, is what it is. If you're picking him up, you only brought him in to get a cash out who's playing in case you need someone. You know what I mean? Like in case you have a late withdrawal and you need him to play, then he's there for that. Other than that, Dane Laurie unfortunately fractured his tibia, I believe. in the first minute. So yeah, poor fella, he's done for the year. But he had clap to Dane Laurie, had an awesome year, and he'll be back bigger and better next year. That's for sure. That's it on that one. I'll go to the last game for this video. We're going through my bloody Broncos Cowboys game, and not very special, were they? Someone who was special was Jordan Ricky. That's 2 weeks in a row now. He's been awesome. We saw it at the start of the year. Had a quiet one. We're like, terrible pick, and then he picks up a 70-odd, a real long range try. But he had 46 tackles for 0 misses with a try and a couple of line breaks and a try assist. He was awesome. He's someone that I think has a bright future if he can sort out a fair bit of the discipline in his game in terms of his tackle technique. He's obviously he's shown some improvement at the last few weeks with 46 for no misses, but he was someone who's obviously missing a lot of tackles during the first part of the year. But if he can do that, he'll be a great option next year for them in that starting role, playing 80 minutes. Tyson Gamble's been amazing, hasn't he? He's got a 5-round average of 60 at the moment. So he's someone that you've got to be playing each week, and he's going to get to 700k, 750k really quickly, and may turn out to be a keeper for the rest of the year. So thankfully our people squad has him. I don't have him in my team. But 71 there, he's someone that you can feel safe playing every week, doing the bulk of the kicking. 3 try assists, a field goal in there, solid in defense, runs the ball a bit. He's one of the premier NRL fantasy halves, and if you got him from the top, you've made 300k. I mentioned that after his second game, he started pretty well, 30 odd, and then had a negative game the game 2, and was like, see, this is what happens when you pick rookies, and he's really shown us up from there. And even if you picked him up sort of 3 to 4 weeks ago, it's really paid dividends for your squad. Someone like Tommy Dearden has actually done pretty well. He's making up all the losses that he had at the beginning of the year, and his 5-round average of over sort of 50 there. He's been really special this last section. They're owned by 0.8% of teams. So again, when a player has to fairly well run the team, he runs the ball a fair bit, makes plenty of tackles, scored the odd try. He's going to do really well. But the price point's a bit strange at this stage. If you picked up Katoni Staggs, you got an amazing score out of him, a couple of tries. This is the things that he can do. Only 52 metres, but 2 tries in there and 2 line breaks. But unfortunately, he's injured and should be out for the rest of the year. I think MCL sprain, a little bit annoying, and you'll have to trade him out. But thankfully, he's going to be up to a nice price, over 550 after this round, and you'll be able to trade him out if you hopefully have a few trades left. If you don't, that's unfortunate. Payne Haas, 59 in his 65, so didn't play the 80 this week, but that's completely fine. If you captained him, you're completely fine with that. 59, just, again, not too much on the attacking stats, and, just the normal, the run meters and the tackles a little bit lower than last week just because he played 15 less minutes. So he was solid, did the job for his squad, really all he needed to do this week. Taumalolo with 47, so really happy with the minutes, just no attacking stats this week, 50 in base, a couple of negatives. I suppose, that's how it is. But you'd hope that he's someone that can get a few more attacking stats, whether be sort of that averaging that 5 to 6 tackle breaks. If he gets that, then we're sitting with a 60 score rather than a 47, and no one's even talking about him. So just needs to bring that back into his games. Have 2 quiet ones now, 33 and 47, ready to go. Let's get him back to those 60s that he was doing. I think he can. I wouldn't be trading him out or thinking about it. You keep playing him because he's someone that can get the 60s on a regular basis. Sarko on the wing was solid. Tessie with 39, no worries there. In terms of anyone else in this team, really not too much to talk about. Lukey only getting 17 minutes. He's going to be really interesting next year if he happens to get a bigger role. Look, we're already talking about next year. We're back in around 20, so crazy. Hampton came back, 21 minutes, and then Bradley, if anyone looked at him as a cash out, then he only got 12 this week, unfortunately, after his try-scoring debut. But there you go, team. That's the video, the first 3 games of the week. Let me know what you thought of those ones. Let me know how your team's going. Obviously, I showed that update with our squad. And we'll catch you for the next 3 games, and enjoy the Monday night footy. We haven't had that in a while. I used to actually really enjoy the old Monday night game. Kind of like half felt like it was still the weekend to round out the week for NRL fantasy and our tips. So as I said, I hope you enjoy it. We'll catch you in the next one, team. See you later.